welcome to AGK's Vinyl Life. I'm your host, Anthony K. And on this week's episode, I'm going to be showing you some gems from my metal collection. That's right, I've pulled 33 albums to show you guys today from my metal collection. I have a decent-sized metal library, not gigantic, mainly because I really didn't get into metal until around 2010. I was always more of a rock and pop guy. Obviously, the occasional metal band I did get into, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, bands like that I got into back in the day. But my favorite metal band I actually really didn't get into until 2010. That was, of course, Iron Maiden. I was never really a Maiden fan, never really listened to Maiden. And, I'm kind of sorry I missed out for so many years on listening to Maiden, but I've certainly made up for it in the last 12 years as I've played Maiden to death in the last 12 years. And they've certainly been an influence on me discovering more metal. I had, Metallica's Black album back in the day. I think I had it on CD or cassette or something. So I had the odd metal thing, but never really got into metal. And certainly the last 12 years, I've really discovered metal. I mean, there's so many subgenres of metal out there now, with new metal, power metal, speed metal, of course, heavy metal, symphonic metal, progressive metal. There's so many subcategories of metal now. When I worked at Sam the Record Man's flagship location at Yonge and Dundas here in Toronto in the 70s, there was no real metal section. Back in the day, there weren't all these subgenres of metal. And I've certainly gotten into a lot of these subgenres of metal. I think it was symphonic metal that really attracted me to metal, first of all. I love symphonic metal. Of all the types of metal, I think symphonic is my favorite. Though, of course, I love Maiden. They are my favorite band in the metal category. So I'm going to show you 33 things here today from my metal collection. And if you guys enjoy this video and want to see more of my metal collection, then I'll show you another chunk of the collection, because I'm certainly skipping a large chunk of my metal collection. And the things I'm going to show you today, I've never shown before on my channel, other than maybe 2 or 3 exceptions, because I have shown the occasional metal album in, of course, my best of the year videos, my vinyl finds videos, vinyl tags, and so on. I have shown, metal albums. I really want to keep this video 95% original things to show you guys today that haven't been shown before. So let's get on with it. And the first album I'm going to show you, I actually have shown you one time before in my comps video about a year ago. And this is a comp album called Symphonic and Opera Metal. It's a compilation album of various European symphonic metal bands. And I picked this up, and it was because of this album that I actually got into a number of these symphonic metal bands that are on this album. This was a jumping off point for me to listen to these bands, and started buying music by these bands that were on this album. So I highly recommend this album for anybody that's not into symphonic or opera metal. This is a really good launching point. If you can find this album, I highly suggest it. Symphonic and Opera Metal. Like I said, it's a 1-disc compilation album, and it's got some great stuff on it. You'll get songs on here from Nightwish, Delane, of course, Nightwish and Delane, and Epica, all bands I've since gotten into. Avantasia, who I've since gotten into. Within Temptation, who I've since gotten into. Exandria, Visions of Atlantis, Serenity, and Exit Eden. It's a real good start. If you guys are curious about symphonic metal, look up this album, because it's a real nice sampler of symphonic and opera metal, and a really good launching point. And if you like the stuff on here, then start checking out the bands on this album. Next up is an album by Tobias Sammet's Avantasia, who are featured on that comp album I just showed you. And this is their 2019 album called Moonglow. They have a rather large library. This is somewhere between power metal and symphonic metal. I love these guys. I've got a couple of their albums, I think 3 of their albums. Really great stuff. Highly recommend Avantasia. And this is Moonglow from 2019. A great spin. It's a 2 LP set, and highly recommend it. And I believe this was on Nuclear Blast Records, who have there's a lot of metal and symphonic metal and power metal artists on Nuclear Blast Records. So check them out, Avantasia and Moonglow. Next up is something a little more unusual, and I don't know if I've shown these guys before or not. Definitely out of the norm in the metal. This is like the far left field of metal, and people have heard of them, and if you haven't heard of them, check them out. They are a Japanese metal band fronted by three, I think it's now two, female singers. They look like K-pop stars, but they play scorching metal, and the backup band that backs these girls are absolutely killer. And this is their most recent studio release called Metal Galaxy, and I'm talking about baby metal. That's right, baby metal. It's K-pop meets metal, and it's blistering metal. You don't understand what they're singing because it's all in, it's all in Asian foreign language, but it's killer. It really is killer. Baby metal, Metal Galaxy. Check it out. You want something different in your metal library. I think no metal library is complete without adding baby metal to your library, and they have a few albums. Next up is a band. I'm not sure if I ever showed this album. I might have showed this album in a Vinyl Finds video a couple of years ago when I first started the channel, but I don't think I have. This is their last album from 2019, also called Bad Wolves Nation. And this is a killer album. This is a real killer album. This is a heavy metal, power metal, really great stuff. Almost doom metal in some spots. These guys are killer. Bad Wolves Nation. This model here, I actually met a number of years ago when I was working as a photographer. She's 100% tattooed on her entire body, and she posed for this album. When I bought this album and I saw the tattoo, I go, geez, that looks familiar. And I had to look her up, and I was like, oh, gee, yeah, I worked with her many years ago. So Bad Wolves Nation, fantastic spin. This one's on, I believe, a clear vinyl or some sort of colored vinyl. It's kind of a Coke bottle vinyl, kind of matches the cover. I always enjoy when they do a color variant and it matches the colors on the album, so definitely matching the panty on here and the general color scheme of the album. Bad Wolves Nation, highly recommend that. Next up, I have never shown these guys before. Well, I've shown another album by these guys before, but this is an earlier album from, I believe, 2015 or 2017. And this band here are called Battle Beast. They're a symphonic metal, power metal band from Europe. Bringer of Pain from 2017. Female-fronted, female vocalist. Power metal band, symphonic metal band, more on the symphonic metal side. I've shown other albums by them before, but this is their Bringer of Pain album from 2017, and they've got a brand new album about to drop very soon. I'm looking forward to that. Battle Beast, Bringer of Pain. Next up is another album from a Beast band. We had Battle Beast, and now we have Beast in Black. And the reason why the names are similar is because a member of Battle Beast left Battle Beast to form Beast in Black. And so hence the similarity in names. A member left that band to form Beast in Black. Similar style metal. It's power metal. It's symphonic metal. It sounds sometimes a lot like hair metal. It's fantastic stuff. Beast in Black. This is their debut album from 2018 called Berserker. I absolutely love this thing. I love all three of their albums. Of course, their Dark Connection album from 2021 was number 3 on my best albums of 2021 list. So this is Beast in Black, their debut album from 2018. And then the absolutely fantastic album, one of my favorite albums from 2019, hands down. This thing is killer, and this is called From Hell with Love. I absolutely love this album. It is absolute killer stuff. Beast in Black, From Hell with Love. It had just a non-stop pile of fantastic songs, like From Hell with Love, Die by the Blade, Unlimited Sin, True Believer, This Is War, No Surrender. This is an absolute killer double LP. Beast in Black and From Hell with Love, their second album. Next up is a symphonic metal band that I don't even remember how I discovered. I think I discovered these guys by watching various symphonic metal YouTube videos or something. I don't remember exactly how I found these guys, but this is a great album, and this one came out in 2018, and this is Beyond the Black and Heart of the Hurricane, another symphonic metal band. And as with most symphonic metal bands, they also have a female singer fronting the band, and this is another great album, and highly recommend Beyond the Black, Heart of the Hurricane. And I believe they've got a new album either just out recently or coming out. Beyond the Black, Heart of the Hurricane. Great spin. Now, I couldn't do a metal video without showing these guys, obviously. This will be one that I think I've shown this album maybe one time before, maybe not. But you can't do a metal video without showing some obvious bands. So I'm just going to quickly show this one. And of course, you can't do a metal video without showing Black Sabbath. And this is my favorite Black Sabbath album of all time, Sabotage. And this is a 2016 remaster reissue with a wonderful gatefold that you don't see. This wonderful, wonderful gatefold that talks about the album and the production of the album. And this particular 2016 reissue also had the a liner and the album itself, which was pressed on a beautiful, don't know if you can see it, but it's a purple marble vinyl. Sounds great, spectacular pressing, really good stuff. Black Sabbath, Sabotage. You can't do a metal video without at least showing one Black Sabbath album. And so that is my favorite Black Sabbath album of all time, Sabotage. Next up, these guys are on the power metal, doom metal side, and they are a band called Bloody Hammers. This is the only album I have by them. I should check them out more. I did really enjoy this album. Bloody Hammers, The Summoning. And this is a little bit of doom metal, power metal, doom metal. Great stuff. Bloody Hammers, The Summoning. Killer album, absolutely killer album. Highly recommend it. Bloody Hammers, The Summoning. Next up is a band that I've shown one of their more recent albums. I think about a year ago or so, I showed one of their more recent albums when it dropped. And they do have a brand new album that came out last year that I still have to order and get. I've been a little bit remiss. It's been sitting in my shopping cart, I think on Amazon for a while, but I've just been watching the price to hopefully pick it up at a better price because it's a little bit on the high side. But I decided to show their first two previous albums, two of their earliest albums. This is Hexenhammer by Burning Witches, an all-female power metal, heavy metal band. Hexenhammer, the entire band members are all female, and these girls just kick ass. Some really great power metal, heavy metal. Burning Witches and their Hexenhammer album, which was followed by this album here. And like I said, I've shown one of their newer albums previously, which was followed up by Burning Witches and Burning Alive. This is their debut album, which was then reissued after Hexenhammer. This particular pressing came out, and it's a reissue of their debut album called Burning Witches and the EP that followed it called Burning Alive, and they've packaged them together into this deluxe edition of Burning Witches, which dropped after Hexenhammer. And once again, fabulous stuff. Also on Nuclear Blast Records, and this is a 2 LP set, and it also includes the CD copy of the album as well. So there you have it. Burning Witches, the deluxe edition of Burning Witches featuring the Burning Alive EP. Next up is an album by a band that's been around a long time. They're a speed metal band. They've been around a long time. This album they released, it's a live album that they released on the 30th anniversary of their band. They are Doral, and this is Strong and Proud, 30 years of rock and metal live. Doral, a female-fronted metal band, speed metal band, fabulous stuff. They've been around a long time. This is a double LP, live LP, and these guys just absolutely smoke on stage, and just some fantastic speed metal. Doral, Strong and Proud. Next up is a band that did have an album last year on my top 21 of 21. And this is a previous album by them, their previous release. And this is Epica and the Holographic Principle. And Epica, of course, were featured on that album I showed you at the beginning of the video, Symphonic and Metal Opera. One of the bands I discovered from that album and then went out and tried their albums out. And this is Epica and the Holographic Principle, another fantastic symphonic metal band and symphonic metal album. Highly recommend it. Great stuff. This album is from 2016, this particular release, 2016. Epica and the Holographic Principle. Some fantastic symphonic metal. Next up are a couple albums from a progressive metal band called Fate's Warning that I discovered a few years ago. And they reissued some of their library about 4 years ago, I think in 2017. And here's a couple things from their library. This is Fate's Warning and Perfect Symmetry. And each of these albums comes with a poster, lyric sheet, and a colored vinyl. This one's on a gray marble colored vinyl. Perfect Symmetry. And also from them, this one's called Fate's Warning Parallels, which is on an ochre brown vinyl. Same idea, lyric sheet, poster, colored vinyl. Fate's Warning Parallels, a couple of great progressive metal spins for you. Next up are a couple albums from one of my favorite metal bands that's popped up in the last 10 years. They're kind of doom metal, new metal, almost glam metal. I've got their entire discography. I've seen them live. They are Ghost. And this is the last couple of studio albums they released. This one from 2016 called Meliora. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Meliora. And this is the deluxe edition, which included the bonus EP, a second disc with 5 additional songs on it. This album originally came out as a single disc, but this is the deluxe edition, which features the EP as well as the main album, all packaged in one, from 2016. And the second album I'm going to show you from Ghost is their latest studio album from 2018, and they're kind of due for a new studio album, I think. I hope to see one from them very soon. This is Prequel from 2018, and this is the exclusive limited edition version of the album on a gorgeous smoke-colored vinyl. It's kind of a black and clear smoke-colored vinyl, limited edition, and it also featured a poster and a 7-inch single. 7-inch single, and this 7-inch single contained 2 songs on it, also on the smoke vinyl, and the songs were Avalanche and a cover of Pet Shop Boys' It's a Sin that they do absolutely fantastic. Pet Shop Boys' It's a Sin done goth metal. It is really, really, really great stuff. Next up, from Riding Easy Records, I might have shown this album in my Riding Easy Records video from I think a year and a half ago or so. But this is Holy Serpent. This is doom metal at its finest. Holy Serpent and Endless from Riding Easy Records. Some really great doom metal. Holy Serpent and Endless. Next up, a couple of earlier albums from a band that I have shown before. I've shown their latest album, I know, in one of my videos. I've shown a couple other albums in odd videos here and there. These are 2 of their earlier albums. This is one of their really earliest albums. And this is a recent reissue that came out. This is In This Moment, female-fronted metal band. In This Moment and Blood. A recent reissue. In This Moment and Blood. A fantastic spin. Highly recommend these guys. In This Moment and Blood. And this particular reissue came out on a beautiful kind of gold vinyl. In This Moment, Blood. Fantastic album. The next one I'm going to show you from In This Moment is their 2017 release, Ritual. A fantastic spin. This is the album that got me into In This Moment. Their 2017 album, Ritual, which is on a beautiful gold vinyl with black labels. Kind of matches what's going on the cover. Fabulous album, which actually features a really, really cool cover of Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, and also a song called Black Wedding, which is kind of White Wedding redone lyrically, but it's Black Wedding featuring Rob Halford from Judas Priest on vocals as well. So Ritual by In This Moment, a fantastic spin. Next up are a couple albums from my favorite metal band, Iron Maiden. I couldn't do a metal video without showing a couple things from Iron Maiden, but I tried to pick 2 things here that people on other vinyl channels don't show from Iron Maiden. I tried to pick some things out of their normal catalog. The first being Iron Maiden, Maiden in England, a live concert recording at Birmingham on the 27th and 28th of November 1988. This is an official Iron Maiden release that came out in 2013. This is an official release, but it's from a very early Iron Maiden concert from 88. and this was a double picture disc pressing. The only way you can get it is a double picture disc pressing. I won't show both discs. I'll just show one here. But Maiden in England. It's a double picture disc pressing. Sounds great. Nothing wrong with it. Picture discs, modern picture discs sound just fine. Maiden in England. One that I've never shown before for sure, and one you don't see people showing on other channels as far as I've ever seen. So Maiden in England, 88. And the second one I'm going to show you, I've shown before in some video somewhere. I don't remember where, briefly. And I may be showing it on a live stream or something, but it's definitely more unusual. It's not something you'll be seeing people from the vinyl community showing by Maiden for sure, as there were only 450 copies of this album pressed on 3 different colors, a total 150 on each color. And this is a Korean pressing, very rare, called Iron Maiden, The Assassin. And it's an unofficial release. It's not bootleg. There is no bootleg recordings on here. It's actually taken from CD singles, CD maxi singles, 7-inch singles and 12-inch singles that were released from the Prayer for the Dying album days and the Fear of the Dark album days. They've collected up all the various EPs and singles that were released during those 2 albums and put them together on this album. And the sound is great. They sound great. It's well mastered. It's a really great spin and a really great collection of unusual Iron Maiden material with like 5 or 6 cover songs from other bands like Free and Stray and Montrose, and 2 that really stand out, Led Zeppelin's Communication Breakdown, and for me a personal favorite is, you know, their version of Kill Me Ce Soir, but originally done by Golden Earring. So Iron Maiden, The Assassin, Korean pressing, a really fantastic spin and rare spin, and I highly recommend that one if you can find it. Next up, of course, I couldn't do a metal video without showing this band as well, but I'm just going to show them real quickly. And of course, it is Judas Priest, and this is their Redeemer of Souls album from a few years ago, which you don't see too many people showing. Redeemer of Souls. I love this album. I believe this album came out in like 2015, if I'm not mistaken. 2014. Redeemer of Souls by Judas Priest from 2014. We couldn't do a metal video without at least showing one Judas Priest album, Redeemer of Souls. Such great cover art on this album. Next up is a Canadian metal act. They are called Cobra and the Lotus. I've got quite a few albums from them. A Canadian metal band called Cobra and the Lotus. Fantastic stuff. Female-fronted metal band, Cobra and the Lotus from Canada. And this is their High Priestess album, one of many albums I have by Cobra and the Lotus. High Priestess, some great Canadian power metal, heavy metal, just great stuff. Cobra and Lotus, this is a 2-disc version, and it is a limited edition, including bonus tracks, and it's on 2 different colors of vinyl. This orange marbly vinyl, and this dark purple vinyl. Cobra and the Lotus, and High Priestess, which includes a big single soldier on it. And the second album I'm going to show you from Cobra and the Lotus is actually an EP. It's actually a 10-inch EP called Words of the Prophets. And this EP was inspired by Rush's covers EP they did many years ago. And so Cobra and the Lotus have done what Rush did and covered 5 songs from some of the greatest Canadian rock bands of all time. And it is a really fantastic spin if you can find it. Words of the Prophet covers 5 great songs from 5 great bands. And this, like I said, this EP inspired by the EP that Rush did of cover songs. And it's on a beautiful teal marble vinyl. And the songs on this EP are beautifully performed. Fantastic EP. Highly recommend it. You get on this EP, Lay It on the Line, the classic Triumph song covered by Cobra. Sign of the Gypsy Queen from April Wine, Black Velvet by Alana Miles, Let It Ride by Bachman Turner Overdrive, and of course you couldn't forget Rush. So you've got The Spirit of Radio from Rush. All covered by Cobra and the Lotus. A fantastic spin. Next up is a little doom metal, new metal for you. This is a recent reissue, very limited reissue. It's actually worth a fair amount of money now. And it is Korn and Follow the Leader. And this is a 2 LP remaster reissue of Korn and Follow the Leader. And this is on a beautiful gold vinyl as well. matching the album cover art. Love when they coordinate covers and album colors together. Korn, Follow the Leader. Now, I'm going to mention this band, even though they're not a metal band, but I'm just going to quickly show them. This is a band that's mistakenly called a metal band, and it was basically because of 2 albums in their entire library. These guys started out as a prog band and then became just a hard rock band. I put these guys in the category of hard rock, but in the 80s they did delve into a little bit of hair metal for a couple albums, but they are back to just being a hard rockin' band. They've got a brand new album coming out at the end of February, a month from now, exactly a month from today actually. A brand new album coming out in February. But they did delve into the metal category for a couple of kind of hair metal-y albums in the 80s, and it's the Scorpions, and this is Love at First Thing. This was the album that kind of branded them as a metal band, but they're not a metal band. They're a hard rock band, but this album was definitely hair metal at its finest, if you want to call it anything. Love at First Thing, famous album, which was quickly followed up by one of my favorite Scorpion albums of all time, Savage Amusement. Both of these ones would definitely be under the hair metal category, if anything. So that was kind of their delve into metal. But I would not call Scorpions a metal band, but thought I'd mention them anyhow in this video. Next up is an album from a very famous metal band that I really didn't get into until the last 10 years or so. I mean, I had their Black album back in the day when it first came out, and of course I'm talking about Metallica and their Black album, which had Enter Sandman on it. Everybody had that album. I think even non-metal people all jumped on the Black album when it first came out. But I really didn't get into Metallica since that album until the 2010s, and I've grown to embrace Metallica and now love Metallica. They are up there as one of my favorite metal bands. And this is a rare pressing of their latest studio album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And of course, people I'm sure have shown this album many times. I've never shown this album before, and this is a very rare Record Store Day pressing of this album. It was not on the Record Store Day list for that year from 2016. This was not on the Record Store Day list, but it clearly has the Record Store Day logo on it, and it was released as part of Record Store Day. And it's on a beautiful, beautiful, kind of bloody, rusty, bloody, kind of, I can't even describe this color. It's kind of orangey, kind of reddy, kind of maroon, kind of bloody. I don't know what you call this album. What did they call it? They just call it red vinyl. But it's definitely not red vinyl. It's a mixture of things. Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Fantastic album by Metallica. You can't do a metal video without showing Metallica. Next up is an album from a band that I discovered on that symphonic and opera metal compilation album I showed you at the beginning of the video. They are called Within Temptation, and this is their Mother Earth album, and this album originally came out in 2000. This is a recent 2019 music on vinyl, who I love. Remaster and reissue on double LP. There were 5,000 numbered copies. It's on kind of a tealy greeny to match the record cover vinyl. It comes with a poster and a booklet, a fantastic pressing, and this is Mother Earth from Within Temptation, a spectacular spin. And I'm looking forward, I actually will be seeing Within Temptation as they are opening for Iron Maiden and the Legacy of the Beast Tour here in October of this year that I've already got my tickets to. They are actually opening for Iron Maiden, so I really look forward to that. Within Temptation and Mother Earth. And last up on the show, I couldn't do a metal video without talking about these two independent Canadian metal bands. One is a symphonic metal artist, the other a progressive metal artist, and I would do it an injustice if I didn't mention them, because I do support Canadian independent artists, and I've worked with this first artist before on the release of one of her albums, and this was my favorite album of 2019, hands down. This was my #1 release. I've shown this album before. It is Lee and the Quest. And this is a limited edition of only 500 copies pressing. There were 200 copies pressed on this clear vinyl and 300 copies pressed on black vinyl. And so this is like a clear, smoky clear vinyl. The Quest, symphonic metal at its finest, featuring guest performers from bands like Nightwish on here. Lee, fantastic. It's got an autographed card inside, as you can see. And it is an absolutely spectacular spin. My favorite album of 2019, hands down, #1 on the list. And I couldn't show my dear friend Mark Anthony Kay and his progressive metal act called Project Gemini. Always will get a plug in for Mark Anthony Kay wherever I can, and definitely a metal video would be missing something if I didn't show Project Gemini. And this is, of course, his debut album, An Ordinary Day, and this is his very recent remaster and lathe cut edition. This is a lathe cut album. This is as good as a one step. This is as good as a MoFi one step. This is a lathe cut album. I think Mark only made about 20 of these things in total this year. It was a Record Store Day release that he did special order for. Each one of these is cut, custom cut on a lathe. And they're not pressed, they're cut on a lathe, and they sound as good as any one step. And I have to give a plug for Mark Anthony Kay and Project Gemini. And that's it, that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up always make people feel good. And if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any of my videos. I try to post a video like this every week. And comments welcome down below. And as always, I reply to every comment I get, as comments are the best way to make a channel better. And last but not least, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. And my Instagram is @AGK Lifetime of Vinyl, where I post my spin of the day almost every day, among other things. And that's it. That's all. I got dry mouth. I need to have something to drink and enjoy the rest of my day. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. And as I always say, rock and roll.